Украина предлагает рождественское перемирие. Как бы к такой идее отнесся Кремль?
Сейчас речь идет о том, выходим мы на, как говорит президент Трамп, на сделку или не выходим. Наша позиция хорошо известна, она последовательна, она прозрачна и она понятна американцам. И в целом она понятна и украинцам, мы в этом убеждены. Если присутствует у украинцев и начинает доминировать желание подменить выход на сделку сиюминутными, нежизнеспособными решениями, мы вряд ли готовы в этом участвовать. Поэтому мы хотим мира, мы не хотим перемирия, чтобы дать, скажем так, передышку Украине и подготовиться к продолжению войны. Мы хотим остановить эту войну, достичь наших целей, обеспечить наши интересы и гарантировать мир в Европе на будущее. Вот что мы хотим.
The clock is ticking on Europe's deadliest war in decades. In Kyiv, President Volodymyr Zelensky says the outlines of a peace deal are finally taking shape, and they could be ready within days. After high-stakes talks with U.S. officials in Berlin, Zelensky calls the draft plan very workable, a rare note of optimism in a war nearing its fourth year. American envoys are now preparing to take those proposals straight to Moscow, possibly before another round of talks in the United States next weekend. Washington believes momentum is building. U.S. President Donald Trump says this moment is different. We're closer now than we've ever been, he says.
We had a very good conversation 1 hour ago with the European leaders, many of them involving the war with Russia and Ukraine. We had a long discussion, and things are seemingly going well, but we've been saying that for a long time, and it's a difficult one. We had, as you know, settled 8 wars, and one was having a little problem yesterday, Thailand and Cambodia. We were able to straighten that out. There was some killing going on that shouldn't have happened, and we appreciate them working to get it straightened out, and they have. The security protocols yesterday were amazing, and they have been amazing, having to do with Russia and Ukraine. And I had a long talk with President Zelensky. Also, I spoke with the heads of Germany, Italy, NATO, Finland, France, the United Kingdom, Poland, Norway, Denmark, and the Netherlands. We had very long and very good talks. And again, I think things are going along pretty well. 27,000 soldiers were killed last month. It shouldn't happen. It should have never happened, should have never started. That war should have never, ever started. But it did, and we're trying to get it solved. That was Biden's situation. We're trying to get it done. And I think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever. And we'll see what we can do. We want to save a lot of lives. We sell equipment to NATO. We don't spend any money, but we do want to see if we can save a lot of lives. When you're losing 25,000 to 30,000 soldiers, mostly soldiers, or other people too, from towns, and like places like Kyiv, various other places throughout Ukraine, it's pretty bad. Nobody's seen anything like it, actually, since World War II. But we're getting closer. We're having tremendous support from European leaders. They want to get it ended also. And at this moment, Russia wants to get it ended. The problem is they'll want to get it ended, and then all of a sudden they won't. And Ukraine will want to get it ended, and all of a sudden they won't. So we have to get them on the same page. But I think that's working along. Very good talk.
In fact, U.S. officials claim Ukraine and Europe already agree on nearly 90% of the American-authored peace framework, but the hardest questions remain unresolved. At the center of the deadlock, land. Zelensky is drawing a red line. Kyiv will not recognize Russian control over any part of the Donbass, the strategic eastern region Moscow still does not fully control. The U.S. is searching for compromise, even floating the idea of a free economic zone in the Donbass. But Zelensky is blunt. A free zone, he says, does not mean Russian control.
Russia feels unsafe when its neighbors are safe, and it feels bad when their neighbors are doing well. Russia is a state that fundamentally rejects the idea of everyone, including itself, playing by the same rules. And that's exactly where the real path to peace begins. It's not enough to force Russia into a deal. It's not enough to make it stop killing. We must make Russia accept that there are rules in the world and that it cannot deceive everyone. This is the path to lasting peace. And I thank you, Netherlands, for standing with us on this path and for supporting all the elements of the just end to this war, from stopping the killing to defending justice for Ukraine. It truly matters. And I'm sincerely grateful to you for that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, together with partners, we are working not only to stop the bloodshed, but to change the situation along Russia's borders so there is no opportunity to start another war. And we understand that criminals don't change in a day. That's why the talks these days are not only about ceasefire, but about security guarantees. This is not only about diplomacy, not only about physical security. It's also about making Russia finally learn to live by the rule of law. And it will only work if there is true accountability, if the punishment of the aggressor becomes inevitable. Yes, it's not easy, but it's not as difficult as some may try to portray it. We have already done a great job. Now we simply need to press forward and bring the criminal to justice.
For the Kremlin, the demands are far more sweeping. President Vladimir Putin wants recognition of Russian control over seized territory in 4 regions, plus Crimea, annexed illegally back in 2014. And Moscow is warning it won't accept half measures. The Kremlin says it wants a comprehensive peace, not a temporary truce. No pauses, no breathing room, no deal that allows Ukraine to rearm. As diplomatic pressure builds, Europe is stepping in with its own proposal. European leaders are now backing a multinational peacekeeping force led by Europe and supported by the United States, designed to enforce any future deal and deter Russia from breaking it. But Moscow says it hasn't even seen the plan. The Kremlin refuses to comment, and its position remains unchanged. No foreign troops, no NATO presence, no peacekeepers on Ukrainian soil. Russia's deputy foreign minister makes it explicit. Any NATO force in Ukraine is a non-starter.
Yesterday, journalists asked President Trump if he had spoken directly with President Putin recently, and he replied, yes. So when exactly was the last time these two presidents actually spoke on the phone?
Well, that particular event took place relatively recently. It was when, in fact, you could check the date of our very last message concerning the details of our phone conversation. Overall, yes, it was indeed quite recent.
Ukraine is putting forward a Christmas truce proposal. What would the Kremlin's attitude be towards such an idea?
The central question now is whether we are going to, as President Trump often says, reach a deal or not. Our position is well known, it is consistent, it is transparent, and it is quite clear to the American people. And generally, it's understandable to Ukrainians. We are convinced of that. If Ukrainians have a desire to replace the path to a deal starts to dominate with short-lived, unsustainable solutions, well, we are hardly prepared to participate in that. That's why we want peace. We don't want a truce. To give, let's say, a breather, to give Ukraine a respite and prepare for the continuation of the war. We want to stop this war, achieve our goals, secure our interests, and guarantee peace in Europe for the future. That's what we want.
European leaders have outlined their vision concerning security guarantees for Kyiv in a joint statement. Does this document contain any provisions that are unacceptable to the Kremlin? Does this initiative truly bring about peace? And is it truly expected by the Kremlin that, in essence, since no security guarantees for Russia are being discussed?
Well, look, we've only seen newspaper publications so far. We are not going to react to newspaper publications. We haven't seen any actual text yet. When we do see them, then we'll start our analysis.
Zelensky, meanwhile, issues a warning of his own. If diplomacy fails, Ukraine will seek tougher sanctions on Russia and more weapons from the West, more air defenses, long-range strikes, and sustained military support. Behind closed doors, up to 5 separate documents are being prepared, focused on security guarantees and the future of Ukraine's defense. Zelensky insists the talks show something crucial: unity. Unity between the United States, unity with Europe, unity with Ukraine. But the path to peace still runs through Moscow, and whether this fragile momentum leads to an agreement or another escalation may be decided in the days ahead.